Hi there, it's Trisha Holm with Homemade Smart, and today we are going to be making a strawberry shortcake. We're actually making the turkey. This meal is actually going to be for a friend of ours who we're delivering meals to them this evening because their son had a surgery a few weeks ago, or actually just last week. And so the community has come together and is going to bless them with meals. So today we're going to make turkey tetrazzini. Since there's only 3 of them in their family and there's 7 of us, and this recipe that I have calls for a service 7, or excuse me, a service of 10. So we're just going to go ahead and divide the meal into 2 and take half to them and half to us. So what I've done is I've prepared most of all the ingredients, and one of the best ways to organize is to be organized and very efficient is to do all your prep work right prior to cooking your meal, because when you start to cook your meal, if you have to dice something or chop something up, and while something is cooking, you're thinking, oh goodness, I got to go ahead and chop this up and then throw it back into the while the other stuff is cooking. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that that you have everything prepped, ready to go, that you can just throw in when you need to, because sometimes your stove's going to cook a lot faster than you think it's going to. So that's what I've done. I've spent probably about the last 10-15 minutes chopping up the food. We are making the shortcake now, and we've poured in half a cup of heavy cream with 2 eggs beaten up, and we poured over the flour mixture that we had. And now we're just going to go ahead and pulse this about 25 times to make it kind of a sticky dough. As we're making this into a cake versus individual shortcakes, if you were making individual shortcakes, you'd take this out and make it into a flat thing and then put it onto a baking sheet and bake it. But we're going to bake it as a whole cake. So I have this little guy here, because that way we can transport it, put it in with them, and they can just eat it when they want to. Alright, so we're going to take this out and put this over here. And it's going to be a little bit on the crumply side, and that's fine. Okay. So it's a little bit on the crumply side, but what I will do, because I'm making it now into a patty, and here I will actually kind of knead it together myself just a little bit. If you're making it into individual things, you would form them, and so form them like this, and then put them down inside like that and bake them. So we're going to do that. Then we're going to make them flat. But again, you don't want to touch them too much and handle them, because too much touching is going to make them, handling them is going to make them really tough, and you don't want them tough. Then we're just going to flip these little sections of dough back down here and kind of push them out. Okay. And it doesn't have to be pretty, because it's going to be covered with strawberries. So that makes it really nice. So we're going to go ahead and bake them for about 20 minutes. And when they get done, we'll bring them out and we will make this rest of strawberry shortcake. And what we're doing is the cake has cooked. And normally what you would do is you make it into little tiny biscuits and then slice each individual biscuit. But I've done a whole cake here, and we're going to let it cool. It's still pretty warm. So while we're whipping up the whipped cream and finishing up with the strawberries, we're going to let that cool. Then we're going to slice it carefully, and we're going to put it back into the pan, and then we're going to put the strawberries on it and make it just very, very delicious. I have 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and to that, powdered sugar. And so we're just going to put 2 tablespoons of powdered sugar in here, and it's not quite as sweet either, so I'll put 3 tablespoons. Now I'll do 4. And then some vanilla, and it says about ½ of a teaspoon. I just eyeball it because I don't mind having a little extra vanilla flavor in there. And the organic raw sugar will also make the whipped cream a little bit more of an ivory color versus just plain white. So because I'm going to mix this up a little bit, I don't want it to be too terribly splattery with all that powdered sugar. Just kind of mix it on low. just until it's incorporated, and then we're going to whip it up a little bit higher. And make sure that tastes good. It's perfect. A little bit of vanilla on there, and very good. And again, the powdered sugar doesn't make it quite as sweet, I find, that the regular organic raw sugar does. Check and see how our cake is doing here. It's not quite completely cooled yet, so we're going to want to wait to do that. So what we've done is that we've mixed the 2 cups of heavy whipping cream with 4 tablespoons of powdered sugar, as well as about a teaspoon, I put about a tablespoon of vanilla in there to bring out a lot of flavor. And we've got our strawberries that are then chopped into or cut into quarters. And then I sprinkled with about a half a cup of sugar, and all those juices, as you can see, the sugar is beginning to break down the fruit so it can bring and have a lot of juices to it. So what we're doing here now, real fast to finish this up so I get over to our friends for dinner, is we've got the cake here. And again, if you're doing individual shortcakes, it would be little tiny biscuit size. But what we're going to do is that we're just going to cut this with a serrated edge, and pretend this is a small biscuit, because that's what you would be doing if you had if you were actually doing it the traditional way, not the correct way, but the traditional way. And sweet, not too sweet, because shortbreads are not sweet. Okay, shortcake cleaning. Okay, now, if I was to turn this over right now, it would all break apart. So what I'm going to do is put it back inside, and anyway, so what we'll do is we're going to flip it like that. So it's cut, and then we're going to take that top layer off ever so gently. We're going to put that back on there eventually. We don't want it all to break off. I think I'll take mine. So we want to take this top. Okay, we break this apart a little bit. I think we can. Get this out like that. Oops, a little extra more than we wanted to, so we'll put that little guy back in there like that. Okay. And so put that into 2 little sections there like that. Okay, kind of know how that goes back in there. Yep, excellent. Now, what we're going to do now is take our strawberries that have been sitting with its juices in there. I'm going to spoon it over here. And you want to pour the juices over the top of the biscuits shortcake as well. Okay. It's going to help to soak up those biscuits. And the reason that they're made with the biscuits like the shortcakes are because then they're a little bit thicker and heartier, and so the actual shortcake soaks up that juice. So put that on there like that. So yummy. And then we're going to take our whipped cream. I'm just going to dollop it on here like this. Dollop like that. And kind of swirl it around the edges there. Okay. Okay. Like that, like so. And then we know we need to put this little guy back on there like that. And put that guy on there like that. It's almost like a crumble, and that's alright. And then these guys back on there. Like that. There we go. Okay, so now what I like to do at this point is I will sprinkle a little bit more whipped cream just on the top here. Save the rest for the rest of my family tonight. And just kind of dollop that on there like that. And then we've got some fresh strawberries that we used to cut these up. I told you these strawberries were huge. Look how huge these are. And that's why I had to cut them not only in quarters, but even cut them in half again. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to slice them a little bit to kind of make them a little bit pretty on here. I'm going to put a few little strawberries out on there like that. And then I'll get a nicer one. That one's not quite so nice. So just throw some strawberries on the top of here like this. Okay, to try and make it look a little bit prettier. And then we'll just slice these up. Nice and red. Okay. Alrighty, everyone. So, Homemade Smart. Delicious homemade food. It really didn't take me that long. It took about an hour total. About half an hour of prepping and a half an hour of cooking, and we're done. And then while that was cooking, we made everything else. So it was a really good thing. So, homemade meals, and by cooking everything fresh, by scratch, and it really doesn't take you that much time as long as you're organized and that you are prepared. And that's what we're hopefully going to be able to teach you here at Homemade Smart.